So let's do a little bit of Excel. Nothing wrong with a little Excel fun. Let's put together some spreadsheets. So let's create kind of the fact pattern here. So first thing we've got to identify is what is the original cost of the asset. I also want to, again, we're trying to come up with and this is whatever that came out to, we should have a understanding of what that is. And let's say that is a $20 million asset. So we get a $20 million asset. Let's put that in terms, make it look more accounting like. And I think the residual value, based on my views of the world, right, looking at, maybe some, other types of assets that I've had like this, or this particular asset, how much would this asset be at the end of its service life? So the residual value I'm going to set at 1.2 million. Right? Make sure we get that in the right format. There we go. So the amount that I'm going to depreciate is going to be the difference between this 20 million and 1.2 million over what I think the service life, and I'm going to stay with time just to make this a little tractable, right? Make this understandable. We're going to still stay with the service life, and we're using time as our basis. And I think the service life is 8 years. Right? We'll just to make this, clean it up a little bit, we'll put that over there. All right. So this is basically this is the data that I need to be able to move forward. So we're going to create a couple of depreciation tables here. So this is going to be the straight line table. And then we will also create the accelerated table. Okay, so we're going to use both this economic model, assuming everything goes evenly, and we're also going to create an accelerated model. All right. So we're going to put down our years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Same number of years. Okay. And we're going to have our annual depreciation. And we're going to have our accumulated depreciation. And we'll have the exact same thing over here. Okay, we can see all that. Beautiful. So we're going to create these two tables. So the first in this formula, what we're going to do is we're going to put in our formula that we had before from our little slides, where we had the straight line economic model is when we're trying to figure out what that annual cost is, that's going to be equal to, parentheses, my original cost minus my residual value, put that in parentheses, and then we're going to multiply that times the straight line rate or divide by the service life. It's the same thing. So in this case, we're going to multiply times 1 divided by 8, right? Which is my service life. 1 divided by 8. You can see my service life is 8 here. So this is equivalent to saying this C1 minus C2 divided by 8. Mathematically, this is the same thing. And so I get that much accumulated depreciation, or that much annual depreciation. And this is not going to change, right? This is going to stay the same each and every year. So I can do the exact same formula because it's still going to be C1, put a little these absolute references in there so it stays the same. And I can just copy this formula across all 8 years. Now I can start accumulating the depreciation. In the first year, the accumulated depreciation is just going to be that year's depreciation. The next year, it's going to be this year's depreciation plus the accumulated depreciation from the prior year. And so on and so forth. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to bring it down there. And you can see that I'm going to ultimately depreciate down to $18,800,000 total. So I'm keeping track of my book value of my asset. I'm going to just delete this column here because I'm running out of room. But I wanted to figure out what the book value is. Oops. The book value is going to be equal to my original cost of the asset, and I want to put a little $sign there, minus the accumulated depreciation each year. That's my book value. And I can just copy that down. And you can see that my book value is going down slowly but surely. All right? And that's very similar if we go back to our little model here that we had. That's what we see here, just slowly going down evenly throughout. And we'll see if we can do an Excel graph to show that. All right? And just to give myself some more room to be able to do I'm going to get rid of my zeros here. And make these columns a little bit narrower so I can wedge some more in here. I think I'm going to get rid of my zeros here as well. Just to give myself a little bit more room. Okay, now I've got a little bit more room over here. All right, so that is the straight line method.